A lot of things have happened in crypto today. One of those things being that Fidelity, with $4.5 trillion in assets under management, is also joining the path of BlackRock, basically preparing to file for a Bitcoin ETF, which basically means crypto cannot be stopped anymore. So for anybody that was saying, oh, but crypto, shut up. It ain't stopping anymore. BlackRock is coming in hot. Fidelity is coming in hot. And it's happening almost exactly like I predicted. The SEC slamming it down every single day. While in the background, some of these major investment firms and banks are building the fundamentals for strong gains the moment that the market turns back around, which again is decided by some of these major players. And something else that I think was very interesting was this right here. Former SEC advisor saying legal doctrines could end Gensler's crypto crackdown. The person we're talking about here is J.W. Verrett, Associate Professor of Law at the George Mason and former advisory committee member to Gensler and other SEC commissioners. And he broke down the importance of major question doctrine in the latest episode of the Scoop podcast. The conversation centered around the recent lawsuits brought by the SEC against Binance and Coinbase over alleged security law violations. And the major questions doctrine relates to how courts look at what executive agencies do in the so-called independent agencies and consider how much deference to give the things that they do, Verrett said. These agencies, such as the SEC, receive broad mandates from Congress to regulate certain areas. However, the specifics are often left vague, which has resulted in a significant expansion of regulations through agency rulemaking over the years. And so, potentially, any one single next step towards, I guess, crypto doctrines, perhaps even, could just, as a concept here, just end Gary Gensler's reign and put him back down into his little corner. I've stated before many times, and I will state it again, I still do believe that Gary Gensler, Jay Clayton, Bill Hinman all deserve an investigation, partially because it just doesn't make sense and nobody thinks it does, but also partially because they lost investors a lot of money with something that I don't think was justified. However, that's not a discussion for today. The guy basically just says that the people at the SEC might have gone a little bit step beyond what Congress actually intended. They've gone a little step too far. And again, that's coming from inside people, all right? You have to understand that this is not something that only us in the crypto space are thinking. That's why I'm keep on saying Fidelity coming in hot now, and BlackRock coming in quite recently, quite hot yet again. BlackRock at 11 trillion AUM, Fidelity at 4.5 trillion, 15.5 trillion. What percentage of that goes to Bitcoin? Perhaps not much, but apparently BlackRock has also filed a basically ASAP motion. Basically, they want to get it out as soon as possible. And reportedly, every single time they do that, they get it within like a month or so. So that could be interesting. And Fidelity coming in is most likely because they know, because of the SEC's recent actions against Coinbase, Binance, and the way they've been, I guess, exposed, it will be very difficult for them to disapprove it now. And the moment that they approve BlackRock's ETF, Fidelity wants to be there too, because otherwise you're just missing out on money by not being there early. At the same time, some interesting things are happening over in the UK. So to quickly state, lawmakers in the UK House of Lords have voted for the new Financial Services and Markets Bill, which proposes regulating crypto and stablecoins under existing laws. Now that on its own is quite interesting, I know, but what was more interesting was everything relating to Binance in the UK. The last couple of hours, there's been a lot of FUD. The entire market was just filled with all this fear of Binance getting shut down in the UK, Binance UK this, Binance UK that. But if we focus really on what happened, Binance's plan to get regulated in the UK while escaping the US has actually failed. So again, a lot of articles are posting up that they're deregistering and they're going out away from the UK. And I got kind of scared thinking, no way, more and more countries are shutting down Binance. I mean, we recently read that Binance US's market share has fallen significantly, which makes sense because people get afraid. But that would be really, really sucky if even more countries get rid of it now. And the same day, we've also read this, a whale withdrawing 15,000 Bitcoin, $400 million from Binance. However, right, you would think that would be crazy. That was the initial expectation. But a little bit later, or perhaps before that even, Binance actually tweeted out themselves, today Binance will be moving funds from our Bitcoin cold wallet to our new address. If you see any significant movements of Bitcoin from our wallets today, that's why funds are safe. Right? Small clarification. We accidentally added a T to the end of the address in the tweet above. The new address is this one. Apologies. But the reason people thought it was a real human is because they sent a test transaction of 1 Bitcoin. So there's two things. One, it's a whale if they send a test transaction for 1 Bitcoin. And I guess you could also have found out that they're a whale because of the 15,000 afterwards. But hey, that's besides the point. But yeah, that really made people think, oh, okay, you know what? They're sending 15,000, 1 and 49.999. Yeah, it's probably somebody. But no, it was actually Binance themselves. I wonder what the stress level is like when you're sending $400 million, right? How many times do you triple check? I know there's multi-signatures for that type of stuff, but still, how often do you check that? On the side, something that happened a little while ago. I didn't want to cover it, but I should. You remember this Bob ETH token, this whole situation with Explain This Bob? So this bot, which was on Twitter, very prevalent, actually got shut down because Elon basically said, any bot that's attached to some sort of crypto scam or some sort of strange account, however good the bot is, because I think it had like 400,000 followers, will get taken down, all right? And Elon Musk basically took it down, which was quite peculiar. He said, this sure looks like a scam crypto account. If so, it will be suspended. I'm not sure if it was. That's not for me to say. But yeah, it did get taken down. Something else. JP Morgan says the release of the Hinman documents in the SEC versus Ripple case is a boost to Ether and will likely trigger a race for decentralization in the crypto market. The documents are likely to intensify the move among major cryptocurrencies to become more decentralized and look more like Ether, the report said. And to that note, I think this video right here is really freaking funny. Please watch it.
So I work for a venture fund, and we talk to a lot of, let's call them token issuers, that inform me that they are planning on passing the Hinman test, which is Hinman test, which is,
Anyway, that's a fun little video. You know why? Because, again, this man is just one sort of maniac, honestly. When asked a question, do you have communications with anyone other than SEC staff about your substance of your remarks, about the William Hinman speech all the way back then, before you gave it? He says, basically, no. No, not on the substance. But then again, if you relay back, he's been meeting with Ethereum. He's been talking to them. And that, again, makes me interested in how this is all now tying together, where should cryptos now look more like Ether to just be fine? Should we more look at it from Gary Gensler's approach, which is every single crypto is security? What exactly is right? Was Hinman's approach to things the right way to go about it? What I've also been following quite closely is just how Mr. Sam Bankman-Fried has been treated. A lot of people are saying that he's getting some preferential treatment because of all his crazy donations. And now I'm seeing more and more about all this fundraising circle stuff. And honestly, this whole deep Congress and all the senators and all that stuff is such a slippery slope, because I don't want to say it's all one big fraud. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say it's all one big money grab, or it's just about raising as much money as possible through any way, shape, or form. But I will tell you that it looks as if the guys that granted money have a lot of power over these people, right? And so how can you then really confirm you're not fully biased? I mean, even if we're looking at Gary Gensler, he still has his personal biases, but also the ones that he basically picked up from where he's worked in the past, perhaps, or where he wants to go after this, or from the people above him, which again might be biased by the people that are paying for that, which at the end of the day might all come back down to BlackRock, might all be coming down to Fidelity, all these big guys. By the way, a little side note again, because I sometimes do that. Unreal. This is a quote. When I first met Joseph Lubin, I didn't know he was co-founder of Ethereum. But at some point, I think I figured that out. That's again between Ripple and Hinman. Question. And you knew that X was founded by correct? And again, what we're talking about here is a consensus. So he's asking basically about that company, but some pieces are being redacted. We are thinking, though, that everything is about Joe Lubin and about Ethereum and about consensus. So that's, again, what we filled in. When I first met with him, again, we're thinking, not confirmed, but we're thinking it's Joseph Lubin was found, and this could be Ethereum or consensus, but we're assuming it's Ethereum. When I first met with him, I'm not sure I knew that, but eventually I think I figured it out. And then question, when do you think you figured out that Mr. Lubin, we think, was the founder of Ethereum or consensus? Probably after having met with him maybe in the first meeting. The second time, I'm not even sure how many times we met with him, but somewhere along the way, that became clear. And Joe Lubin, or whoever, right? Whoever could be there, is affiliated with Ether, correct? and then object to form. I don't know if they have a formal affiliation. I think they, other than involvement, but I don't know the nature of. Well, John Deaton came to find out Hinman depositions. They didn't redact the spelling of consensus. Hinman said he had 4 to 5 meetings with them, but maybe one was a phone call. This is between December 13, 2017 and June 8, 2018. We know for sure 4 actual meetings. The meeting with Vitalik makes a minimum 5. Notice how the email referenced in his testimony. This is one of the emails that Empower US is finally get released, but the SEC has refused to turn over. Now, notice that Jay Clayton spoke with Hinman especially about the consensus meetings at least 1 to 2 times. What is significant about this? Clayton's law firm, Sullivan and Cromwell, and Ethereum Joseph or Joe Lubin, had hired the law firm to represent consensus shortly after Clayton's nomination as chairman. We can all agree that that was a very smart and savvy move by Joe. Now, this doesn't mean Clayton was bribed, but why is he so interested in these meetings with consensus? It's because consensus was a huge client of his previous law firm. Why did Hinman out of the blue call Lubin at consensus? In his deposition, Ripple lawyers asked if Hinman was directed by Clayton to reach out to consensus. Hinman testified that he doesn't recall one way or the other, but we can clearly see that some entrepreneurs get special access to regulators while others don't. Because again, if he didn't know Joe Lubin was that important for Ethereum, it wasn't about the speech, but we also now have extrapolated that he, didn't talk to anybody about his speech, even though he kind of did, because, you can kind of get that from these different talks. Why exactly did he meet up with these guys then? What was the point there? What was he getting towards? He didn't get any info, then how'd he get there? I mean, we've witnessed this with Sam Bankman-Fraud and Gary Gensler, and we've witnessed it with Ether folks and Hinman and Clayton. I've never blamed Lubin for seeking regulatory clarity for Ether, because we can't blame him for trying. I can be critical about other things he said and done, but not for wanting clarity. Here's some facts. On May 4th, 2017, Clayton was sworn in as chairman by the SEC, or at the SEC. Clayton was a senior partner at SNC, and within 2 months of Clayton being sworn in, Lubin hired Patrick Berarducci from SNC, and now read on from here. Here's Hinman's answer when asked if he knows attorney Lowell Ness from Perkins Coie. It's ringing a bit of a fame bell, but not really. Couldn't pick him out of a crowd. On March 26, 2018, Lowell Ness sent Hinman a memo and safe harbor and met him March 28, 2018. 2 days after Hinman received the note and safe harbor from Lowell, he met with Lowell, Ness, and others. Ness said that Hinman tracked his notes. And by the way, there are identical phrases from Lowell Ness's paper that appear in the first draft and even final draft of the speech. Oh, by the way, Lowell has been at A16Z's main crypto lawyer for the very beginning, or since the very beginning. And Hinman is now partnered at A16Z today. I didn't even know that. He's partners with those who helped write his personal opinion speech that Ether isn't a security. And oh, by the way, the only crypto mentioned in the safe harbor was Ethereum. I wonder if Hinman could pick Lowell Ness out of a crowd by now, because again, it's not surprising. It's not really surprising at all. People are mapping things right now as we speak as well. And things are only going to get deeper and deeper as, again, this rabbit hole gets deeper. Mark Cuban joining the game and guys like JP Morgan noticing as well that, hey, I don't have it open anymore, but the situation is a lot different than might meet the eye. They're noticing it, and that Ethereum got special treatment. But like I said, that all these people are coming in hot. It's also putting some pressure on the SEC to kind of get clear what exactly their role should be. But anyway, I think there was more, but this was like by far the most important pieces for today. People are finding out more and more and more about the Hinman lawsuit. It's going absolutely crazy. And stupidly enough, I didn't start the video by saying you should press the like button, but I guess it is what it is. If you enjoyed the video though, you might want to press it. You might not want to. What I will recommend to you guys to do is to put the notification bell on, because what if something crazy happens in crypto, you want to be notified, and that's about it. See you guys hopefully again tomorrow. I think there's a lot of cool videos coming up tomorrow. Got some very informative ones, so stay tuned. And I'll see you guys again later on in the video.